Animals are smart. They are also creatures of habit. Yeah, that coyote just went up to the street and looked both ways before crossing. Animals can learn pretty quick, even very simple animals, or at least what we consider simple animals. If they are subject to the same thing over and over again, eventually they will learn what that something is. And these deer, at least in this particular situation in Japan, know that if a car hits you, you're probably going to die, but they live around cars so much that they just kind of understand that when the car stops, then you can go. Another situation in Japan, these crows have learned that if you drop nuts on the road, that it's a hard surface and you'll be able to get through to the nut and eat things that you normally wouldn't be able to eat on your own. But also, over time, they've come to realize that if a car runs over that nut, it's definitely going to open it up. So over time, they've developed the insight to actually, use a vehicle as a means to get their food. This may seem very complicated, and to some animals it is, but it's no different than what we do. And it's no different than what all these animals I just talked about do as well. Crows and humans and some other animals are just able to comprehend that they can do more than just the bare minimum. Well, what is the bare minimum? Well, in the wild, a crocodile might sit in a pool of water that it knows that the animals are going to have to come to eventually. So it sits and waits for its prey to come to it. It knows they're eventually going to come, but there's no point in wasting energy. It's just going to chill there and wait for the antelope to come to it. Or in this case, deer. It's using the repetitive thing that happens in its environment and taking advantage of that. This gaboon viper sitting on a path that it knows that these guinea fowl are going to walk past and waiting for them to come. It's the exact same situation. Just when we're looking at animals in the city or looking both ways to cross the street, we just see that as more complicated and smart than the animal sitting there in ambush waiting for the prey to come to it. And way too often we think one animal's dumb compared to the other. And the more and more time goes on, the more and more we realize that many of these animals have a higher level of intelligence than we ever would have guessed. They may not be a deer crossing the road and waiting for the cars to go by intelligent, but simple just doesn't necessarily mean dumb.